What's up? Jeff from Retro Arcade Gaming on YouTube. Back today, we're going to do a little something different, and I'm actually going to show you my gaming setup in the basement. The man cave, the game room, whatever you want to call it. If you follow me on Instagram, you've seen pictures of most of this, but I've realized my YouTube viewers have never actually seen my game room or my setup that I use to play games basically on a daily basis. So, without further ado, Alexa, arcade games on. On this wall, we have a small collection of actual arcade games. Starting on the end, Track and Field by Konami. This was released to the arcades in 1983, and it's all original except for a reproduction control panel overlay. It's got some pretty cool history on the side art. Unfortunately, I can only show you one side that has all sorts of names and things that have been etched into it over the years. I thought about completely restoring this machine, but I decided against it because I like the history of the etchings, the names, the sayings, the random crap on the sides too much. So it's going to stay pretty much as is. I may patch a couple holes down here on the front panel and paint it, but the sides are going to remain untouched. Moving down the line, Centipede, released by Atari, 1981. This one was actually a mess when I bought it. Had been lived in by a family of mice for quite some time. They had literally clawed the majority of the artwork off of the marquee. It was basically just a clear piece of glass with some random bits of the artwork left on it. Slowly been restoring this one over a long time. It currently doesn't have side art on it, but I have a complete set of silk-screened reproduction side art by PhoenixArcade.com, no affiliation, in the back room that I just need to find time to put on. It's got a brand new trackball, new control panel overlay, and the marquee was replaced with a non-damaged original. Next, we have Dig Dug, which was working a week ago, but apparently knew I was going to film this video, so it decided to quit working. That's the beauty of owning 40-year-old arcade games. This was the first game I actually purchased, and it was not completely as advertised. Guy stole somebody else's pictures and used them on a Craigslist ad. The side art was essentially gone, but other than that, the machine was complete. You can't get reproduction Dig Dug silk screened side art. So it's got some inkjet printed art covered in clear liquid laminate for now. It actually looks pretty good, but I'd kill for some silk screened art. And if any ever becomes available, I'd pick it up in a heartbeat. It also has a reproduction wiring harness that's exactly like the original, only newer. You'd never know it was reproduction if I didn't tell you. It's playing blind, so there's some sort of issue with the monitor. Hopefully maybe just a flyback that needs to be replaced. Next, we got Miss Pac-Man, released in 1982. This was converted to a JAMA wiring harness by the previous owner. It's got a slightly modified original PCB in it, which we'll talk about in just a minute, and a JAMA to Miss Pac-Man adapter. The board PCB has been modified with a Pac-Man Miss Pac-Man multi-game kit, which allows it to play Pac-Man, original or fast, Pac-Man Plus, Miss Pac-Man, Original or Fast, Miss Pac-Man Plus, and Pingo. Pingo is an awesome game if you have never played it. Highly addictive, very fun. The board is actually a original. I think this one's got the Pac-Man board in it. It may be a Miss Pac-Man board, but all this kit involves is swapping some ROMs with ROMs from the kit. Donkey Kong, the 1981 Nintendo Classic, is not next, but Donkey Kong Jr. is, who was released in '82, running in a Donkey Kong cabinet. I got this one from a high school friend who was going to set it on the curb because the monitor no longer worked. While I didn't have a spare Sanyo 20s EZ monitor, I did have a spare monitor, which works fine as long as you use a color inverter board, which I picked up from mikesarcade.com. Again, no affiliation. I do need to get a Donkey Kong Jr. bezel and marquee, as well as some new T-molding at some point. The board has been upgraded with a high score save kit, so it retains high scores when powered off. Also need to decide if I'm going to paint it orange, the Donkey Kong Jr. cabinet color, or just leave it as is. Next we got Donkey Kong, which is my personal favorite. And this one does have an original Sanyo 20 EZ monitor. It's got a reproduction control panel from mikesarcade.com, as well as a high score save kit. Again, no affiliation with mikesarcade.com. That's just where I bought the parts. It also has a reproduction wiring harness in it, which, again, like the Dig Dug, you wouldn't know it was a reproduction if I didn't tell you. Matches the original wiring harness exactly. This one does need some new T-molding. I've got all sorts of Donkey Kong parts in the back. I've got coin doors and coin acceptors and all sorts of stuff. So I need to decide which parts are going on which machine. Next, a 1984 Bally World Cup Soccer pinball machine. This was you can have it for free as long as you carry it out of my basement pickup. I was there in a flash. The right flipper was apparently not working. Only needed to have a spring reattached. I've cleaned up the playfield and the plastics, but other than that, haven't done much to it. I'd like to probably put an LED kit on the playfield at some point, a light kit, but that'll come somewhere down the line. In the garage, I've got an original Galaga cabinet. Been undergoing restoration for about 5 years or so. Actually, haven't really done much to it other than some Bondo work. It had been kicked near the coin door. Somebody was trying to break into it. Had big crack. So I've been trying to level that out. And I've got it pretty good. It also has some PCB issues, so those will need to be addressed eventually as well. 250 miles away, I've got a Golden Tee 2005 in a original Golden Tee 2000 cabinet, currently in my in-laws' basement. I moved about 5 years ago. Unfortunately, downsized my collection a bit. At one point, I had a dedicated missile command with high score save kit. Also played Super Missile Attack. A dedicated Tato elevator action cabinet. It also played Jungle Hunt with a board swap. A working Omega Race arcade game. That's a vector game. Still kicking myself. Not sure why I got rid of that one. Fully working. All-American Football that I intended to make into a 60-1 or something similar to that, a maiden cabinet, something. All-American Football is really not a very good game. And Operation Wolf by Tato. 2 more pinball machines. I had a Bobby Orr Power Play machine from 1978, I think, and a Gottlieb Grand Slam pinball from 72 maybe, which were sold before the move. So at one point, I had about 14 arcade games and 3 pinball machines in the basement. Not the world's biggest collection, but it was a pretty cool collection. Over here, just as a side note, and it's kind of a mess down here because I've been finishing a bathroom, so there's dust and dirt everywhere. But that's some of my album collection back there. I'm a huge music fan, collector of music on vinyl and CD. So there's a portion of my album collection. If you follow me on Instagram, you've seen plenty of my collection. I don't post YouTube videos about it, but something I'm also passionate about. On the front wall around here are all of my console systems, which are hooked up and working. The component games run through this switcher and then through a RetroTink 2X for line doubling. The HDMI systems also go through a separate switcher. As a lineup, we got up top here an Atari 2600, which has been modified to component outputs. A Nintendo Entertainment System. Sega Genesis. Sony PlayStation. Nintendo 64. Nintendo GameCube. Sony PlayStation 3. Nintendo Wii. Nintendo Wii U. Sony PlayStation 2. Sony PlayStation 4. And an Xbox 360. Over here, I've got a modded PlayStation Classic that plays as many games as you can fit on the storage medium of your choice. It never gets used, but it's here because the price was right, and I think it looks kind of cool. There's also a Nintendo Switch dock. Actually, I don't even have the dock anymore. My college kids have the Switches with them anyway, so I can't play any Switch games. I've also got a broken Xbox One in the back room and a bunch of handhelds to round out the collection. Over on this wall is most of my game collection. Not a huge collection. Has most of the games I want for any given system. Some of these older systems, I kept these systems, but the games somehow mysteriously got sold at garage sales over the years. So I've been slowly rebuilding those collections. I would like to get a Super NES console to round out the Nintendo collection. Probably love to add a ColecoVision to the mix at some point as well. So there you have it. A look at my gaming mecca, if you will. It's not the world's largest collection. I'm not showing it to brag. I'm just showing it so you guys know that I actually do play video games. I'm pretty proud of it. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you next time. Until then, happy gaming. Peace.